Stereotypes in skateboarding are portrayed through several ways. Three of the main ways that we found in our research were through the author's personal experiences with the sport, through the press typically giving a biased negative report, like on the dangers of skateboarding, or inaccurate portrayals of the culture of skateboarders, and through objective studies and perspectives. The texts that I chose deal more with personal experiences and anecdotes, such as Mid-90s by Jonah Hill and Skate for Life, an article by Thomas Slee, along with an objective study by Linda Moore, which explored the skateboarding culture's inclusivity to diverse groups of people. On the other hand, since Cole and I wanted a nuanced array and unbiased picking of texts, Cole's texts typically show the rougher sides of skateboarding. Whether that danger lies in the actual physicality of the sport, such as how there are many risks of severe bodily harm, or if it's more so the culture of skateboarding that the media would pry their claws on, such as skaters being profiled as drug addicts, lazy, rebellious, stoners. Basically, the negative stereotypes that probably everyone in the Western world has heard of in regards to skateboarders. So with this project, we hope to debunk those stereotypes for the viewers. First off was if the article provided a subjective lens of skateboarding, where the author had personal experience with the hobby and typically enjoyed the sport, but also explored the dangerous sides that biased media covered entirely. They provide the most personally rewarding and developmental aspects like tenacity and ambition, and the most socially rewarding aspects like inclusivity and diversity of skateboarding.
Here, watch, I'll do it.
I'm about to let him show me how to do it.
Miss Winter's gonna love this.
Hold up my bike.
Dude,
Okay.
That's a little too tight.
Think so?
I like him a little tighter. Oh, man.
Awesome, man.
And soon you'll be able to do this.
At this point, I should just let him keep the board.
Which one are you doing? Right there? He just smoked you, Cole. Good job, man. What? Thank you for being a good teacher.
Setup, I would let you keep.
Yeah.
Because you're doing more with it than I am. Dude.
Well, now you have the motivation.
I
You
feel
can
like
do
I
that.
should give him my mom's number now or something.
I feel like he deserves it.
Honestly.
Come on, Cole. You saw how to do it. Oh, that was close.
So close.
That was so
much
close.
See
closer.
what you're doing wrong.
What's he doing
What am I
wrong?
doing wrong?
Here, here's the board. So what you're doing is instead of stomping it down and it going like,
Yep,
you're
Oh, man.
still leaning back.
Exactly.
Like this.
exactly.
I see what you mean. So I just gotta stomp on it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Stomp on it, lean forward, you got that.
And I can't fall any more violently than I already did.
Nope. You've already had the worst of it. Never mind.
I'm not gonna count that one. I thought he was about to go in, and that's why I tweaked.
Oh, I got you.
Oh, he was right. That boy was right.
That's all you had to do.
Dude, good job. Thank you for the help, man.
Welcome. Now you
Dude.
just gotta do the same thing, but over there.
Yeah.
Once you get good
If I
at
did
that.
this a couple more times, I could probably do it.
No, for sure.
Oh, man.
Start making your way up.
Just gotta stomp on it.
I'll be like you one day. I can't even be mad because, like, he knows what he's talking about, and he just showed me up, like, blatantly.
And
I'm not even mad.
and you did it.
And he showed me the right thing to do. Like,
You just dropped in for the, so,
that was legit.
That was legitness.
boom. That's so awesome. The film Mid-90s by Jonah Hill is really just a great authentic display of the roughness yet loyalty of skate culture, where it shows that many skateboarders do come from broken homes and as a result skateboard together as a way of escaping the trauma that's waiting for them, right? Yet through the sport of skateboarding, they're able to come together as one whole group, and that creates loyalty which many other sports don't create. But with skateboarding, it's really up to the individual themselves to improve and evolve in the sport. The second text is the article titled Skate for Life, an analysis of the skateboarding subculture by author Thomas Slee. And this article described how the result of skateboarding's negative stigma is likely due to inaccurate portrayals in pop culture. Slee shows how skateboarding's negative stigma comes from inaccurate portrayals in pop culture through his exploration, explanation, and either validation or invalidation of stereotypes. Slee shows that it would make sense for society to stereotype skateboarders as a pain in the butt because they often illegally access property, and he empathizes with the general public's distasteful view of skateboarders, at least in this light, right, where they're taking up public space that isn't theirs. Slee also explains that skaters aren't limited to the consumerist clothing that fast fashion brands push as quote-unquote skate aesthetics. And unlike public perception, skateboarders are usually actually very creative, open-minded people. I'm firstly going to go over objective perspectives, and I'll leave the biased negative reports to Cole. So my objective text was titled An Ethnographic Study of the Skateboarding Culture by Linda Moore. So through the use of observations such as Moore heavily rewatching the skateboarding event to see how the diverse skaters interact with each other, and through the use of statistics to measure said diversity, Moore invalidates the negative stereotypes that skateboarders have commonly thrown their way. Not only does she invalidate the negative ones, but she even concludes that skateboarding provides a positive place for diversity and a place for ambitious self-expression.
Alright, Minding the Gap is a film documentary by Bing Liu, which demonstrates the stereotypes of skateboarding and skateboard culture through real-life documentation of a group of 3 friends, Kier, Bing, and Zach. Most of the negative stereotypes end up coming from Zach. Zach is a prick. Throughout the beginning of the documentary, he says that he came from a rough domestic background, but later on, this is kind of contradicted by when he says, and I quote, "I didn't even see my parents fighting that much." So he kind of tries to say that he came from this rough background where his parents fought and whatever, but he doesn't. This is important because later on it's revealed that he's really not a good person. He is one of the worst examples of what a skateboarder can be and what a skateboarder can be stereotyped as. However, Kier and Bing both break this stereotype. Kier is the youngest of the group, and he actually comes from a troubled home. His dad passed away early on in his life. Kier ends up running away from home a lot. He uses skateboarding as an outlet for these kinds of negative emotions and to keep himself away from people that he knows he could potentially hurt as a result of his built-up anger. One of the biggest problems is that he's lacking direction, which is also another stereotype of skaters. However, he was talking about, not being able to find a job, finding work, not knowing what he wanted to do. Later on in the documentary, he ends up working in a restaurant. The fact that he managed to not only cement himself in some sort of stability, but build up in that stability goes to show that he has the potential that maybe someone like Zach, maybe not potential, but ambition that someone like Zach doesn't have. We see these stereotypes, mostly negative stereotypes that Kier exhibited at first, be then broken by the fact that he's actually progressing and doing stuff in his life. Now, lastly, Bing. Bing arguably came from the quote-unquote worst background because his stepdad physically and verbally abused both him, his brother, and his mom. And like Kier, he used skateboarding as a way to get away from home and get away from the situation. He's trying to escape his trauma, not escape it, but heal from it by making this documentary. The film is proof that Bing is trying to transcend his trauma and hurt to do something better and also breaking the stereotype. Minding the Gap takes the negative skater stereotypes, and while at some points they're reinforced, at others they're broken as a result of Kier and Bing's healing and dealing with their trauma and not being pricks like Zach. This article pretty much shows the skater stereotype in arguably the worst way out of at least 3 documents that I analyzed. In Hollywood, there's a skate event hosted by FA. There were riot cops called to the scene because a huge group of skaters had lit a prop cop car on fire. Yeah, it just kind of goes to show like some of the worst behavior from skaters, because they took an event that a lot of people could have potentially enjoyed and pretty much made it about themselves, as a lot of skaters tend to do. They make a lot of things about themselves and how cool they are. This article showcases a very negative stereotype of skaters, and that they're destructive, unruly, irresponsible, selfish, you name it. The Skateboarding Problem by the Public Skate Park Development Guide showcases stereotypes against skaters by essentially presenting the idea that we damage property. This is pretty much untrue, due to the fact that a lot of skaters avoid damaging other people's things as much as possible. The article pretty much goes on to say that skaters are penalized just for simply having a passion and a hobby, because in a lot of cities they're actually fined for skating in public. We are made to feel like criminals simply because we skate, and skating is somehow synonymous with damaging property. We just look like maybe a bad crowd, I guess you could say. I would like to clarify that this article isn't meant to bash skaters. This is merely information from the article that they use to argue that skate parks should be created more often, because the argument is, if skaters had their own areas to go and skate, they wouldn't need to use your businesses, sidewalks, streets, etc.
So, this is Stuart. Obviously, I'm Christian. If you've been stereotyped, yes or no, have you been stereotyped?
Yes.
How have you been stereotyped?
I guess, they just see skaters sometimes as hooligans in a way, not professional, like, I don't know, it's weird. I mean, not as much now, that being a dad, that I bring my son out here to skate. I feel like they don't judge me as much, but of course, being a younger guy skating, I feel like a lot of places will if you're skating in front of business or something, they'll, judge you in that way. I feel like there's still a lot of people that judge you in that way and stereotype the skater to being up to no good. But I feel like it's more acceptable now, it being in the Olympics and stuff, that it's gotten better, in that aspect.
What?
Come on, man.
I can't read it. Does that say C? How have you seen skating portrayed in media?
I feel like they've portrayed it to be, I guess, cooler in a way, like made it fun for any age. Because before it used to be like, oh, it's this certain age. Now you see guys like in the 50s, like even starting out.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I feel like they portrayed it in a better way than it has been with the Olympics and all the contests and stuff like that.
This one is pretty open. How is skating affecting you personally? And that could be in any way.
It's been the best thing for me. It's opened honestly so many doors. Creativity. It's I've made so many friends, lifelong friends through it, because it's like a lifestyle. And it's just, just this little board with wheels, can bring people together and, learning stuff. And so it's brought joy, nothing but joy to me. Of course you fall, but I feel like skaters, you get back up and keep trying and, just trying to get that one trick. So it's definitely done a lot of good and, taught me good discipline, honestly. And yeah, just how to be a good person, I feel like, and stuff. So, for me, just kind of, it's like mentally, it helps you just be more free, and because I also paint too, so yeah, I do paintings and I do them on my skateboards too. So
okay, cool.
It's brought me to that outlet, and I enjoy that and stuff. So it's like an art. It's like you're dancing in a way, like when you're skating and stuff, and yeah, it just brings your whole body movement, and so that's why I feel like the creativity side of it is a good thing too.
Generally, what has been your experience, not from people necessarily kicking you out, but maybe you've mentioned to someone, hey, I skate, and they're like, I feel this way, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, I feel like they kind of judge you in a way too. They're like, oh, now that I'm older, they're like, oh, you still skateboard? Because some people that don't skate still see it as, I guess, like a kid's sport in a way, and so I feel like they still like, oh, you're gonna break something, or they think that you're still in that child mind state, that you're like, or you're not growing up, or like, and stuff like that. Because even my coworkers, some of them, they appreciate it, but some are like, don't understand it. They're like, oh, you still skateboard? So,
Yeah, and they definitely say like, you still skateboard.
yeah, which yeah,
Like, okay.
yeah, you can say.
So is there anything else that you'd want to add?
I just feel like it's a fun thing, if you get into it, even as you get older. You get to go outside. You're outside a lot, and I've taught my son a lot, and he even picked up skateboarding and then went to BMX. So I feel like it's all combined. Even scooters. What's that?
What's your son's name?
Grayson.
Oh, it's Grayson.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We've had another kid named Ricky.
Dude, Ricky shreds.
Ricky taught
Okay.
Cole how to drop in.
Really?
In like 2 minutes.
That's awesome.
It was crazy.
A little bit humbling.
7 or something.
Yeah, these kids are amazing now. Before they see so much now, and
Yeah, because you have YouTube and things like that. You can learn anything.
right, yeah.
All right, we good or?
Yeah, I think that's good.
All in all, skateboarding is portrayed through many different ways. The main ways that Cole and I found through our research were through personal experience, like with my articles and texts from Thomas Lee and Jonah Hill, along with Cole's documentary, Minding the Gap by Bing Liu. Then there's also a more negative reporting where skaters are shown to either have to resort to illegal activities or they did it for fun, like with Cole's text about the FA event that went wrong. And then lastly was through an objective perspective, like my article by Linda Moore on the objective inclusivity and diversity of skate culture. Not only through our texts did we find the stereotypes of skateboarding and how skateboarding was portrayed in media, but also through Cole's interaction with Ricky and through my interview with Stuart. Cole and I found that generally and anecdotally, almost every skateboarder you talk to is actually respectful and kind and honestly helpful. You could see clearly with Ricky, he wasn't criticizing Cole and he wasn't judging Cole for not knowing how to drop into the bowl yet. And then with my interview with Stuart, he was just dropping some truth bombs, and post-interview, he was also still a very respectful, creative guy. But if you don't believe us, go out for yourself and talk to some skateboarders the next time you see one on the street. Ask them what their experience with the sport is, ask them what the sport has taught them, ask them how they're involved in the culture, and I'm sure that you'll find very similar results to what Cole and I found through our research in this project.
God, lean in and ride away, bro.
Let's go!